Hi, my name is Laura and I'm the lead designer at Topsy Theatre. So my job encompasses lots of different areas of design, such as graphic design. So I produce the visuals that you see in relation to our work, such as flyers or the logo animation at the start of the advent calendar videos. It also encompasses set design, so I make all of the puppets and props and scenery for our shows. Sometimes that might be original pieces of scenery or original props, and sometimes I might have to make something based on an illustration, such as Charlotte Middleton's illustrations from Christopher Nibble, when I produced puppets of Christopher and all of his friends. So today I'm going to focus on the set design element of my job, and I'm going to show you a bit behind the scenes of how I make some of the props and puppets. Some of them you might recognise from some of our shows, but some of them are going to be a sneak peek into projects that haven't been revealed yet, but they're going to be coming to a screen near you very soon. So let's get started. So first up, we're going to rewind back to 2016 when we made Christopher Nibble in A Tale of Dandelion Daring Do, and what better place to start than with the main man himself, Christopher Nibble. The process behind making Christopher, and in fact all the puppets, began with a huge stack of foam blocks. I then carved one block of foam into the shape of their head, and one block of foam into the shape of their body, and connected them using strips of material and thick cord for added strength. At this point they looked more like sheep than guinea pigs. Next up was adding their fur, following their markings from Charlotte's illustrations and adding any little details such as Poppy's bow in her hair. Once they have their fur, it's time for their clothes. So here we can see Santa transform from just his brown fur into his little red Santa suit, complete with white trim. So once all the different processes have been completed, and additional features such as eyes, nose, and of course their hands and feet have been added, here's what Christopher looked like all finished. Definitely looking less sheep-like now. Another item I made that I want to talk to you about is the menu board from Christopher Nibble. I say made, but really it was upcycled. Upcycling is where you take something that's a bit neglected, a bit shabby, and turn it into something beautiful. And at Topsy Theatre, we like to do that wherever possible in our set design. So here's how the menu started. Claire found it second-hand in a charity shop, and we saw that it had some potential. A little bit of topsy-turvy magic later, and it was transformed into Mr. Rossetti's menu board. Now we're going to fast forward to just a couple of weeks ago when I was working on a very special Christmas project, a miniature puppet theatre with miniature puppets for a miniature version of Christopher's Christmas. First up was the theatre itself. Now this needed to look like a real theatre stage with all the details and features, including some little Juliet balconies either side of the stage. I started by cutting the general shape I wanted and then sketching the details so I had a rough guide to follow. I then used more pieces of foam board and traced the shapes of the details I had sketched in order to start building up the layers to make the balconies look 3D. I then added some extra details with thick cord and brown papered them to make them strong and give them a uniformed look.
So unbeknownst to Laura, I have taken it upon myself to just take some footage of these Juliet balconies that she made for the puppet theatre. I mean, these are insane. Check it out. Look at this, right? So she made them using moutboard. And all this detail has been created by using more moutboard and string or cord, hot glue and brown paper. Just one of these took her, I think, all day to brown paper, and she's got two. Just look at that. Crazy.
Next up is the stage. This needed to be flat packed so we can store it safely, so each part is made from one sheet of foam board. For the base of the stage, it needed to be a bit bulkier than the walls, So I used 2 sheets of foam board cut to the same shape, sandwiched around strips of foam board to reinforce it. Once all the walls and bases are secured together, the theatre stage comes to life. Now onto the puppets themselves, and let me start by introducing you to a very important machine. So this is Len, and he's my laser cutter, and he's very, very clever. He can cut materials such as wood using a laser beam that follows the exact path of my digital illustration that I've drawn on my computer. So that's how I can get different elements of our props and puppets to look exactly how I designed them in real life. Let's take a look at him in action. Here he is, cutting the miniature puppet version of Christopher. The laser beam fires down as the different axes move it around to follow the lines of my illustration. As the laser fires, it's able to cut straight through the plywood. And there he is, all finished. Once all the guinea pigs were cut, it was time for the fun part, painting them. Each one was a different colour, and I tried to do a gradient on the top to give the appearance of a fur texture. Once the base layer was down, I could start adding the details using paint markers. This included their clothes, their features, and all the little elements that bring out their personalities. So here's the finished cast. What do you think? Now that you've seen a little behind the scenes of how we made the puppet theatre, here's a little additional behind the scenes photo of the filming of it. But shh, don't tell Claire I showed you. Make sure you keep an eye out on our YouTube channel for when it's released, so you can watch it with your family. So there you have it. There's a little bit of insight into the magic of how things are made at Topsy Turvy Theatre. I hope you enjoyed watching, and next time you come and see one of our shows, you'll have a bit of insider knowledge as to how each item was made. See you next time. Bye!
Hi everyone, my name is Richard and I'm a performer who lives in Leeds. But I don't really sound like I'm from Leeds because I was actually born and grew up in a place called Northern Ireland. So one of my favourite things about being a performer is that every day I get to tell lots and lots of different stories, which is really, really special. My favourite colour is orange, and some of my favourite animals are whales, because they are brilliant, and sea otters, because they're pretty special too. Now, I want to give you a little sneak peek behind the scenes and show you how I filmed some of my videos. Have a look. So I thought it would be good to give you a sneak peek behind the scenes. This is the aftermath of Professor Fizzlewick's laboratory. There's some nice lemons. There's my setup with the lights. There you go. So one of my favourite spots in my house is a little corner that has a chair, a lamp, my record player, and some of the instruments that I play. And this is one of them. This is called a ukulele, which is a little bit like a small guitar, and it has 4 strings that you can play. So if you know this song, I would love for you to join in with me. Ready? We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, it was lovely to meet you, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.